Thursday, September 11th, 2024. This is the Arlington County Board of Equalization hearings. We only have one case on the agenda. There are six board members present and one virtual, so all seven are here. So a quorum is met. The first RPC is 29023-007 at 2727 South Quincy Street. Mr. Savosky, you can start with your 8 minutes and tell us about the property, sir.
All right, like you mentioned, this is RPC number 29-023-007, located at 2727 South Quincy Street. It was built in 2005 and is a 244-unit high-rise apartment. So you can find our analysis on page 5. But we are basically, in our direct cap, we are utilizing actual growth potential income reported on the 2023 income and expense statement, which is $8,223,365, with the other income in the amount of $696 and $665, which is made up of $329,893 for parking and $366,772 for other income. We utilized the vacancy used by the county in our direct cap, which was 6.2%. We utilized expenses based on the county's guidelines, which would equate to $9,448 per unit. And then we believe the cap rate was a little too low for a property of this age in life. So we added 40 basis points to make it a 6.01% cap rate, which would give us a value of $103,917,900. Without adding the cap rate changes and using the 5.61% utilized by the county in the initial assessment, we would get a value of $111,372,340. So it's still a little bit of reduction in value when using the actual gross potential income and then following county guidelines with the rest of the analysis. That's my argument.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cheekins for the county, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, board. Good morning, Zach. Again, looking primarily at the 4-year summary sheet, you can see that across the board, the county was low in its projections. GPI down, underestimated GPI by 23,000, underestimated effective gross by almost 220,000, underestimated OPEX by about 72,000, which led to an underestimation of NOI by 145,000. Again, 2% lower than what was achieved after a year of growth of almost 5% year over year. This property has done well 4 years in a row. Gross potential increased by about 1% in 2021, 6% in 2022, and again almost 7% in 2023. Looking at vacancy and concessions, you can see they're fairly stabilized under 4%, well under the 6% as offered by the county with their stabilized guideline numbers. Growth again of almost 8% in 2022 and 6% in 2023. One of the biggest drivers of the change in value, of course, was the increase of over 10% for OPEX. And looking at years 2020 through 2022, you can see that it was fairly flat. If anything, it was absolutely somewhat declining, and then jumped up to over 10% in 2023. Even with that 10% increase, NOI increased by almost 5%, 4.97%. Which again was almost $150,000 higher than what was projected by the county. That being said, we do believe that the county should be confirmed at a value of $120,776,400. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions from board members? Mr. Lawson.
Yeah, excuse me, this is for the applicant. On column F, there's no parking income and it says minus 100. Why is that?
2%. Sorry, is that in our ID submission?
Column F, it shows no parking income.
Page 3.
Okay, I think he said it was all lumped together.
It's in the
That-
other.
That's correct, Mr. Lawson.
was
Yeah,
added
it's all
to it.
one lump sum.
Okay.
It's one number, yeah. Okay, Mr. Metzger.
I have a question for the appellant. You said that your OpEx in column F pro forma was according to county guidelines. Maybe this should be the third. Could you explain that? Is it the dollars per unit spent or the percentage? Which in this case is almost 27%. What was the guideline that you're following in this regard?
I believe it's the dollar amount per unit.
You agree with that, Mr. Department?
I don't agree with it being applied, but I agree with the logic. He applied $944, $9,448 per unit, times the number of units.
So I mean, that's a guideline for this
That
effective
that is the
year?
guideline that was inferred from the INEs that were turned in amongst all property owners for 2022.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Nothing else? Okay, Mr. Chikas, if you take a minute to wrap up, please.
Yes, ma'am. Just to again, focus on that metric alone. Please note that it's some $600,000 higher than what was achieved last year.
Yeah.
And again, almost 900,000 higher than what was achieved in 2022 and 2021. So we don't believe it's befitting what's actually occurring at the property itself. Again, looking at the numbers top to bottom, we underprojected across the board. Again, we're barely 2% over the NOI that was achieved in 2022. In looking at last year's assessment, you can see that we call for approximately 8% increase, whereas the appellant is requesting a 6% decrease after a year of 5% NOI growth. We do believe the county should be confirmed at $120,776,400. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sosky, if you take a minute to wrap up, sir.
Yeah.
Sir?
For me,
Yes, please, take a
oh,
minute.
sorry. We, like we said, we utilized the county's guidelines for the expenses and actuals for the income and other income. So that's just how we feel the property should be valued. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Okay, it's just among the board. You know, we've seen this before where, you know, we take, you know, a building is performing better. We don't give them that the county uses as the guideline. I mean, it's in excess. I mean, if you look at 2.3, the highest it's been, well, was last year at 1.7. So, I mean, I don't think that's a bonus to give them.
Am I right that generally the only guideline we really apply within normal parameters is the vacancy guideline? Or is this just mix and match?
I mean, some are high, some are low. I mean, it's just to get an
Yeah.
idea of, you know, what the average is. It doesn't mean that you performed better. So you get a little.
Yeah, it's not a guideline, it's a hard and fast rule, it's just, here's where the numbers work out.
Right. Yeah, and I think the performance is great on this building, so I don't have a problem with it. Where's this?
I've seen the road with it. This is one of the ways.
Mr. Mendez?
The NOI for the county that they're using is lower than what's reported on IME, so I think I'm not sure, fair assessment.
I mean, had they done a test, it'd be hard. Anybody else?
No, I think it's straightforward.
All right, then I'm gonna move to confirm the county at 120,776,400. Okay, second by Mr. Yates. All in favor? Aye, opposed. It is unanimous. The county is confirmed at 120,776,400. The second case that we just need to address for housekeeping purposes is RPC 18027-013, 3000 Washington Boulevard. Ms. Ross asked to have the case withdrawn yesterday. I assume, Mr. Chikas, you have no objection?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll move to accept the withdrawal. Do I have a second? Mr. Matskin, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay, that too is unanimous. That case is withdrawn. That completes the agenda. I believe it's the fastest Board of Equalization hearing that we've had
Ever.
since I've been on the board.
Modest 20 years.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you adjourned at 9:10. Reconvene next Tuesday morning, September 17th at 9 a.m. It's virtual for everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you, board
Thank you.
members. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Farms.